The mirror that revealed his sins, a story that will change your heart. Imam Ali radiallahu anhu wisdom. Imagine looking in a mirror and seeing not your face, but your character, every sin, every flaw, every cruelty you ever hid. This story will shake your heart because it exposes a reality we all ignore. The things we mock in others are often the same things hiding inside us. Imam Ali, said, "The biggest shame is to mock at something you have in yourself." Today, you will understand this quote in a way you've never imagined. Listen carefully, this might change you forever. In the old city of Ryan, where narrow stone streets wound like quiet rivers between ancient homes and tall minarets, a young student named Zain lived with a burning fire in his heart, a fire made of confusion, pride, and a search for meaning that often left him lost. He studied at the famous madrasa al-Hikmah, where scholars from different lands came to teach wisdom and character, but Zain was known among students not for wisdom, but for the habit of mocking others, making jokes about their weaknesses, laughing at their mistakes, and acting as if he was above everyone. Yet, he never admitted that many of the faults he mocked existed inside him as well. His teacher, Sheikh Musa, a calm elderly man with white eyebrows and a voice like soft wind over sand, watched him silently for months. The sheikh never scolded him publicly because he believed that hearts change through stories, not humiliation. One cold evening, after the Asr prayer, when the sky above the minaret glowed pink and the courtyard smelled of wet earth after rainfall, Sheikh Musa called Zain into his small study room. The shelves were filled with old manuscripts wrapped in leather, ink pots, and a single lantern flickering gently. "Sit, Zain," the sheikh said, and the boy obeyed, though his pride resisted the softness in the old man's voice. After a moment of silence, Sheikh Musa recited in a deep tone, "Imam Ali, said, the biggest shame is to mock at something that you have in yourself." Zain rolled his eyes gently, thinking he had heard similar reminders before. But the sheikh looked at him with eyes that carried storms and said, "You think you understand it, but you don't. Let me tell you a story." And so the story began. Sheikh Musa spoke of a mysterious old village hidden in the mountains, a place so remote that clouds floated below its cliffs. In that village lived a young man named Harith, a talented but proud apprentice stone carver. He had the gift to carve faces in marble with breathtaking precision, and because of that, he mocked every flaw he saw in others: crooked noses, scars, uneven smiles, insulting them as if Allah had given him authority over beauty. His tongue was sharp, and his laugh cut deeper than a knife. But the villagers tolerated him because his carvings were beautiful and brought visitors who bought his art. Harith believed that his perfection made him untouchable, until one day, a wealthy traveler offered a huge reward if Harith could carve the most beautiful mirror frame ever seen, one that reflected not only a person's face, but their inner state. The traveler's challenge excited Harith's ego. He accepted proudly. "I will create a masterpiece that will make people envy the one who looks into it," he declared. He worked day and night, shaping marble, polishing edges, adding delicate patterns that shimmered like frozen moonlight. Zain listened closely now, his head slightly bowed. But then, the sheikh's voice dropped, mysterious and soft. One night, as Harith worked, a strange old woman entered his workshop. Her back was bent, her clothes dusty, her hands trembling. She asked for shelter from the cold. Harith mocked her appearance. "Your face looks like a crushed pear," he said, laughing. Instead of getting angry, she whispered, "Be careful, young man. You carve the faces of others, but there's a face inside you that you have never looked at." And then she disappeared, not walked, not faded, just disappeared as if she were a breath of cold wind. Harith felt a shiver crawl down his spine, but he dismissed it and returned to his work. When the masterpiece frame was finally finished, it shone with a strange glow, almost alive. Harith lifted it toward the lantern light and admired the carvings, certain he would be praised across kingdoms. Then he placed a polished mirror inside the frame and looked at his reflection. Sheikh Musa paused, and what he saw, he said, terrified him. Zayn's heartbeat slowed, his breath tight. The sheikh continued. Instead of his normal face, Harith saw a face twisted with the same ugliness that he mocked in others. A crooked nose, scarred skin, uneven eyes, a distorted smile. Every flaw he had made fun of appeared on his reflection. He stumbled back, screaming, thinking the mirror cursed. He smashed it, but the next morning, every piece of reflective glass, every drop of water, every polished surface showed him the same distorted face. Terrified, he locked himself indoors. Days passed. The villagers heard his screams at night. Most believed he had gone mad. Finally, desperate, he climbed down the mountain to seek the wise scholar living in a cave near the rushing river. The scholar listened quietly to Harith's story, then took him to the riverbank. "Look into the water," he said. Harith hesitated, but obeyed. When he looked into the flowing river, he saw, again, the distorted face. He wept. "Is this a punishment from Allah?" he cried. The wise scholar shook his head. "This is not a punishment," he said gently. "This is a mirror. Your heart has been carved with arrogance, cruelty, and mockery. What you see is not your face, it is your character. The world simply reflects what you carry inside." Harith collapsed to his knees. "How do I change it?" he whispered. The scholar replied, "You must purify your heart. Stop mocking others. Fix in yourself what you criticize in them. Seek forgiveness from Allah and from the people you hurt." For many months, Harith changed his ways. He visited every person he mocked and apologized with tears in his eyes. He gave his wealth to the poor, helped the weak, and spoke with kindness. Slowly, very slowly, when he looked into the river, his reflection became clear and normal again. And one night, the same strange old woman appeared in his workshop. She smiled and said, "Now you have carved the most beautiful thing, your own soul." And in an instant she vanished, like smoke in the wind. Sheikh Musa then leaned closer to Zayn and said, "The biggest shame is to mock the flaws in others that exist inside you. When you laugh at someone's weakness, you are laughing at yourself. When you insult someone's struggle, you expose your own. What you see in others is the reflection of your heart." Zayn felt his throat tighten, his eyes sting. Memories flooded him. How he mocked a classmate who stuttered, though Zayn himself feared public speaking. How he laughed at another student's mistakes in recitation, though he secretly struggled with his own memorization. How he teased a boy for being poor, though Zayn felt insecure about his own life. Shame washed over him like cold rain. He suddenly realized he had been Harith all along, carving a false image of perfection while hiding his own weaknesses. Tears rolled down his cheeks. "Sheikh," he whispered, "I understand now." The old man smiled gently and placed a hand on Zayn's shoulder. "Then you have learned what many never learn in a lifetime. Fix what is inside you, and the world will reflect it back to you." That night, Zayn walked home slowly, looking at the world with new eyes. Every person he had mocked appeared now as a mirror of his own heart. He vowed to change, and so began his transformation, a journey of humility, self-reflection, and kindness. Years later, Zayn became one of the greatest teachers of character, known across the land not for his brilliance, but for his humility. And whenever students asked him how he changed, he would say only one thing: "I once heard a story about a man whose reflection showed the truth of his heart. I looked into that mirror, and I saw myself." And thus, the wisdom of Imam Ali, our dawah, lived on, shining like a lantern in the hearts of those who sought to purify their souls. If this story touched your heart, then don't let it stop here. Share it with someone who needs this reminder. Let the message of Imam Ali, our dawah, reach every heart that has forgotten humility. Subscribe to the channel for more Islamic stories, emotional reminders, and life-changing wisdom. Turn on notifications so you never miss the next reminder that may soften your heart. Your support helps spread knowledge, and spreading knowledge is sadaqah. Be part of this journey. Let's grow together.